So, consumer demand for Vegas is sinking. Folks, we're seeing the real effects of the last 4 years of our economy. We're seeing Bidenomics, and it's hitting Vegas now. We're going to take a look at this article from the Review Journal and see how bad it is for Vegas casino companies. The big question we're going to ask here is whether or not this is going to translate to be anything but good for you. Because we have two ways this could go. First way is that prices get better. Resort companies learn their lesson. They can't live off of government stimulus checks forever, or they're just going to keep raising the prices. But let's get into the article. I've not read the whole article, but it's from the Review Journal from just 2 days ago, where we finally admit the consumer demand is consumer demand. We don't want to make the casinos angry. That's important. You can't make them mad. You have to ask the question. You can't say consumer demand for Vegas is softening. Is consumer demand for the casino softening? We have this incestuous relationship, the major media, the major news outlets in Vegas, with casino companies. Heaven forbid they pull your credentials. Dana White did this with a news outlet during the COVID-19 crisis, where he was highly criticized for running events in Florida with full capacity crowds. And so we don't want that to happen. We're the newspaper. We need full access. So casino companies in the Las Vegas Strip have posted 5 consecutive month-over-month, year-over-year declines in gaming revenue. Gambling parlors in downtown Las Vegas and along the Boulder Strip have reported decreases in 3 of the past 4 months of available data. Tells us something right there. Vegas Strip, 5 consecutive months year-over-year. What we're looking at is compared to 2024, or 2023, mind you, how was July? How was August compared to 2023? It's down, which means that there's less money coming into the city in 2024. Statewide non-restricted casino wins has been down 4 of the past 5 months, resulting in an almost 2% dip in gambling revenue over the 6-month period of June to November. It's important to note, too, that this is bad for the state. It's not just bad for the casinos. So while y'all are fist pumping that the casinos are getting one, this actually translates nationwide. Vegas is a crossroads of everything. If you ever want to see what things are really like across America, come to Vegas because everybody comes here from everywhere. December gaming revenue numbers have not been released yet, but the general consensus around Las Vegas is that it'll be another soft month. Tell me about it. It was deader than we had seen in a long time. Even the Cowboy Christmas didn't seem to bump it up in the NFR rodeo. But the industry's recent results contrast with a post-COVID economic boom highlighted by years-long stretch of monthly revenue reports showing regular year-over-year increases and culminating in 3 consecutive years of record-setting gaming revenue despite the past few months. 2024 will almost certainly set another annual record. So yeah, you have 12 months in a year. You had 7 good months, 5 bad months. But if the federal government were looking at this, which they do look at this information, they do drastic things like refuse to lower interest rates, for example, because they're seeing that if things are getting worse down the line. But does the latest data suggest consumer demand for Vegas is mostly softening? I think there has been some pullbacks at Aaron Lee, a senior search analyst for Macari Capital. But overall, I'd say that things are still very stable if you look at the underlying demand for fundamentals, such as slot machine handles, the amount wagered, which is up nearly 2% year over year in Las Vegas. That's fine. People come in, they dump their money into the slot machines. What's not fine is that the slot machines are independent machines. You have slot attendants, of course, and you have people working the casino cages, but casinos are not just slot machines anymore. And this is what some guy here with Macari whatever capital doesn't seem to get, right? You have a casino, you have a little bit of everything. You have shows, you have dining, you have rooms, you have everything. And that's the reason why the off-strip casinos are doing better. It's because these are casinos that are heavily dominated by slots, far less tables in these local hotels. Like if you go to a place called Fireside, it's a small little place and they have mostly video poker. And so, yeah, you can dump your money in those machines, but you're going to lose money all over the place in other places. Lee said the data indicates things are still pretty healthy in Vegas. I live here, dude. I don't think you live here. The monthly gaming revenue declines in the second half of 2024 can be largely attributed to a few factors, experts said. Let me guess. They're going to say that it was hot weather in the summertime. They're going to say that it was the natural disasters. They're going to say that it was the Boeing strike. Difficult year over year comparisons to a few exceptional months in 2023. Oh, they're blaming that it was too good in 2023. So 2024 is more realistic. But what about 2022? Because you just finished saying that we had a 3-year run of the best time ever. And that best time ever can be attributed mostly, and I've said it before on our live streams. And if you're getting value out of this video, you should check out a subscription to the channel. It's totally free. Lets YouTube know that we're doing something right and spreads it out to others. And you'll see my live streams. I've said on live streams, people had pent up demand. People stayed at home. They banked their stimulus money. They would travel. And then when things got tough, they would say, well, I don't really need a Hulu streaming service and a Netflix streaming service and a Spotify streaming service and a YouTube music streaming service. They would cut out services, bank their money. People wanted to travel after being locked in their houses. That's it. Another factor was the failure of the second annual Formula One. So we're finally admitting that the Formula One, the F1, was a failure because F1 was running around banging the drum saying we made all the money. It did not match or exceed the impact of November's 2023 inaugural race, which certain strip casino operators alluded to in the months leading up to the event. Nonetheless, Lee offered an optimistic view for the upcoming year. People have actually spent a lot of money over the past couple of years, and so there's going to be some natural pullback in leisure demand. But in terms of our outlook, we think the gaming side revenues will probably be flat or slightly up in 2025. That's what they're hoping. But folks, we are entering into one of the most volatile economic times that we've ever lived through. We're at a point right now where we don't know what's going to happen. Donald Trump says the word tariff and things drop. A Chinese AI company called DeepSeek lies to the world and tells everybody that they basically duct taped together a bunch of iPhones or Android phones or old junky computers and made the world's most advanced AI. And NVIDIA loses $500 billion of value overnight and tanks the entire stock market. There is so much unknown and uncertainty. Anybody who wants to predict this stuff right now, they're probably getting paid 6 figures, and I'm a schlub on a camera, and that's what's tragic about it. You can't say anything right now, tied or slightly up, versus what? We were in a golden age, and now we're out of the golden age. That's it. Inflation, national economy impacting Vegas. Well, here's the truth. Brendan Bussman, a gaming industry analyst with Vegas-based Global, noted that in addition to the tough year-over-year comparisons from one-time events like the F1 race, larger economic forces are impacting consumers, Bussman said. The public has been through 2 technical recessions in the last 4 years and endured inflation rates that have not seen in 4 decades. And I hate to tell you this, but inflation is actually up month over month for the last several months into the last quarter. And the federal government is coming out with an inflation rate decision today. And it's largely understood that they will not be reducing inflation rates. They will not be cutting rates. This will cause the market to tank because they love to thrive on free money. This will cause interest rates, if the 10-year bond in the markets that the federal government issues stays high, this will cause the home lending rates to stay high. People will still have to make 6 figures in order to own a home realistically in cities like Vegas and other cities of the same size. So how are you telling me 2025 is going to be any different? I don't believe it. A slight downturn in numbers does not necessarily indicate softness in the market, but other factors that have contributed overall to the current environment, he said. Well, what other factors are there? Casino executives tend to agree. No kidding. If the chef is like, my restaurant's still great because he's the chef. Casino executives are going to agree. In multiple earning calls last year, some of the Strip's biggest operators touted upticks in conventions and meetings and bookings. Here's the main thing you're going to have a problem with right now, right? The main thing you're going to have an issue with is that 2025, right? 2024, mind you, we hosted the Super Bowl, we had F1 races, we had big events that came in and bumped all those numbers up. And looking at the calendar next year, there's not a big marquee event like that. We don't have an all-star game coming to Vegas. We don't have a Super Bowl coming to Vegas. In 2027, I believe we have the College Football Championship Series, but that's not for 2 years. So it says here, other projections for non-gaming segments of their business, such as food and beverage and entertainment in hotel rooms. The increase in non-gaming customer spend has fueled Las Vegas and the growth for the better part of the last 3 decades. With gaming revenues being only one metric by which the industry gauges its health and performance, there does not appear to be much concern about a downward trend. So, on one hand, we have an expert working with a big hedge fund company saying it's okay because slot machine takes are up. On the other hand, we have the casino executives telling you it's okay that revenues are down because everything else that isn't slot machines are going up. Tell that to Resorts World. Tell that to Fontainebleau. Tell that to anybody looking to invest in Vegas right now. It's a tough one. It's a tough pill to swallow. Reasons for caution evident in Southern Nevada economic stats. Stephen Miller, an economics professor at UNLV who is in the Review Journal all the time and research director at the University Center for Business and Economic Research, concurred that the overall fiscal picture was pretty good, but noted there are some negative signs for the Southern Nevada economy, which could impact the region's largest industry in other ways. Miller pointed out the leading index for Southern Nevada's economy has been drifting downwards since March 2022, and the unemployment rate is rising. Uncertainty about how the wildfires in Southern California, we made a video about that a week or two ago. Go watch that video. After this one, I'll put a playlist up of my last few videos in the first link, and you can go watch them and binge watch them. It helps the algorithm. Could affect the housing market in nearby metro areas such as Las Vegas. It's worth noting, he said. It's not a signaling that we're in any trouble, but the leading index is providing some caution. So we're cautious. We don't see a recession around the corner, but who knows, right? Who knows? Nobody knows, right? But the people who are here, realistically, we know. We know what's actually happening on the ground. We know that the hotels are seeing the results of everyday working people, the results of Bidenomics working for you, of massive inflation working against you, of hotels increasing prices and nickel and diming people working against you. We understand what's really going on. These people who analyze this stuff, these so-called experts, do you remember the experts we were supposed to trust over the C-19 virus? Those are the same types of experts who are telling you to trust their numbers in the economy. They're telling us one thing, but they're getting paid six figures to analyze a bunch of stats and figures. Not many of them are seeing their car insurance rates go up, which was a lead story on the Review Journal today about how car insurance rates were $1,400 a year, and now they're going into $3,200 in Southern Nevada. People aren't seeing that. What they're doing is they're looking at the bright side of life because, as we said at the start of this video, the news media is here to wash away all the pain. They're here to do a mini infomercial for Vegas and find people to pick their narrative and say that everything is okay, you don't understand. But what we do understand is that one of two things will happen here. Number one, the casinos will react accordingly and lower prices. But they can't lower prices without eating into their revenues. And if they eat into their revenues and the revenues drop, then they have a stock market drop and they're worth less money. They won't let that happen. So they will introduce more marquee events, more things like F1 where they can justify charging you $500 to $1,000 a room, and they will justify more marquee events coming into the town. Look for the higher ticket travelers and just tell, Ma and Joe Sixpack working at a Michigan auto factory who have had their hours cut because of inflation and because those companies want to make money that it's too bad for you. You're going to have to come to Vegas less because we don't offer those amazing deals anymore. We don't have any more package deals. We don't care as much about your $1,000 you want to put in the slot. We just want to bring in the whales. And that's the saddest part about what direction the Vegas Strip is going in right now. But that's my news and analysis for today. If you guys like this video, be sure to subscribe to this video. We do these kind of one-off, and then I cut out the gaps with AI. So let me know how I did, and let me know your thoughts below. If you found this useful, share it with somebody else. Once again, you're the best part of my day. My name is Steve, and I'm not leaving Las Vegas. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. We look at the camera. We say 3, 2, 1, and click.